Operation Over the Top, possibly the final playtest of Global War 14, conducted by myself and Tim. This is the new IPP chart that will come in the Global 14 version 3 upgrade, along with a new attack defend board, build chart, and victory chart. I believe those are all the charts that are going to be updated. We added several icons to help you understand when either tech events or free units is going to take place. And of course, the marking of the IPP, which everybody appreciates. So some of you may be wondering, well, what about Operation Vimy Ridge? Tim and I are not done. I'm going to continue. That's the beauty of having a neighbor, that I'll play on his table when I take the US and Chinese turns as we finish up Vimy Ridge. Vimy Ridge has taught us a few things. So Tim and I are going to speed play our way through several items that we've already written into the rules, or we're going to be play testing to see if they should be. Now, I would categorize most things as minor adjustments for balance. However, should we perceive that it is too much of a game changer, then we might scale it back. Let me give you an example of some of those. Trucks are going to be limited in purchases, 1 per turn per nation. And that's simply, this was not a highly mobile war, and so we believe that's a fair balancing mechanism. Chinese warlords, if everybody remembers from Vimy Ridge, the Chinese were spectacularly unsuccessful influencing the warlords, which is something you can only do anyways when the Chinese are central powers. But when I did influence the warlords up here to the north, I got all 3 territories. So it's going to be limited to just 1 territory. The modifier for Japanese entry is going to be, it's been changed by 1 digit should the Japanese go central powers. We want to keep the likelihood of both Italy and Japan going to the central powers very low, but not impossible. So we made 1 minor change on that. We're going to play test some things on the Balkan minimap that I'm not really going to get into. We're going to look at making wartime income both incremental and proportional. And I'm not really going to explain that because there's probably, we've talked about 3 or 4 different ways of doing it, and we're going to see if we like the one that we've settled on for the moment. But we'll see. Imagine if you can get some wartime income incrementally like you can with some of the other technologies. So, I don't know. We'll see. Submarines, when they're submerged, you'll be able to strategic naval move through a submerged submarine. Submerged submarine also will have no impact on Lend-Lease path. I believe that's a fair adjustment. Some adjustments to make the Polish, Ukrainians, and Whites and Finns even more competitive with the Soviets. And we're even looking at the Soviet objectives to make sure that there is a reason to play the Soviets and look at your own victory as a distinct possibility should the Central Powers and allies just flail against themselves and come more to a partial tie between the 2 of them. The Soviets can probably come over the top and win it. Quite frankly, and this is just some of the vagaries of not playing around the table, but playing by YouTube. It's been difficult, and we've seen some lack of interest in certain controlled warlords and whites and such that probably won't occur when people are standing around the table. But should you ignore warlords, should you ignore the whites, the Poles, the Ukrainians, they will fall. You have to support them. Even if it's a ticking clock that you're just trying to hold back. Anyways, damaged rails, we're going to, damaged rails, I mean, that's not hard. You could set an infantry company to do that, and they could do it. It's been going on since railroads have existed, since the Industrial Revolution. But in order to damage them to the extent that they're not available for a 4-month period that each turn represents, we're going to roll a damage roll for that, so that players have the possibility of not damaging them enough. So it's going to look a lot like airship rating, but a die roll to determine whether or not you were able to carry it out to such an extent that you can actually put a damaged rail marker and have an impact on the game. So I've reset my table. I'll be playing on Tim's table for the remainder of Vimy Ridge. Tim and I will be playing Operation Over the Top. Over the top was a term that was coined for going out of the trenches to attack, and this is potentially the final play test. We will not film entire turns. We will film some strategic big moves, one of which, again, I feel like I need to talk about is the von Schlieffen plan. And I just put up here for everybody's reference. So in the spring of 14, nations draw wartime income. It's a non-war turn. And the German amount that they'll draw is 35 at the end of the turn. The British will draw peacetime income. And should, actually this arrow is incorrect. Well, not entirely, but let me explain. So, spring, summer. Summer is our normal attack time. If the British, or if the Germans attempt to go through Belgium, so that's, they have this opportunity to blitz through Belgium into Picardy, kind of wear themselves out, but they have the potential to do that. They obviously will be declaring war on the British simultaneously. They'll be able to convoy raid the British, but they'll be opening up that second front on the Western Front, not to mention the third front on the Eastern Front. However, for the British, you see the balance of what Kitchener's army does. 29 IPP worth of units, which you'll see right here. 3 of which you must place in home country, the rest of which you can place directly into France, and a either minor or a medium upgrade to a medium in home country that violates the manpower rule, but it's allowed as a special exception. So really, as Germany, you have to think through this. Is getting Belgium and the Blitz worth it? Can I do it? Well, we're going to roll it out, and we're going to show you that unless the dice just really hate you, the probability that you'll be able to get Belgium and into Picardy is pretty good. But you're opening yourself up to these units being placed early. They're essentially coming in on the same turn that the Brits will draw their 35 IPP. But if you see the balance between the Central Powers and the Allies, it's balanced. This 29 plus 4, so 2 IPP shy. But you have to admit, being able to place these units in France, that's going to be significant. And so we're going to see the attack. I'm going to play the Central Powers. Tim is going to play the Allies. I've already told him I'm going to do this, and we're going to film it. So that's the game. That's the setup. We'll start tomorrow. We might do summaries for some of the major periods, such as the beginning, the prequel, and then we will get into turn 1 when the Germans attack, barring any crazy things from the random events, such as the Balkans kind of exploding into an early World War I. Most of you know which random event I'm talking about there. We are going to play hard. We're going to play to win, and we're going to attempt to implement every single rule, every single unit, from the Paris gun for the Germans, trucks, mines, all the special units, all the additions. And I'm really looking forward to seeing this for sale for you. And for those of you who have any interest at all, any rules from Global 14 that have a logical parallel update into Global Empires, that will be updated also. So when Global 14 is published, Global Empires will also get an update. We've updated every single reference sheet, we've updated the rules, and you already know about the player aids that have been updated. That will be part of the purchase. Again, the attack defend boards, the victory chart, the IPP chart. The tech chart will not get an update even should we change wartime income, and the diplomacy chart will get no updates. We don't see any need for that. So wish us both luck. We would be patient with each other, as well as, of course, I'm sure all of you would be rooting for the Central Powers because I happen to be playing them and Tim needs the humiliation. All kidding aside, thank you. Have a great weekend.